G'day everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Swan Valley Zoo. So in today's episode we're going to be checking out the first phase of the Africa Precinct, which you can see the entrance of straight ahead. So we'll get started right away. You can see banners that show us 3 of the 4 species that we will see in this first little section. And there's the entry arch for the area as well. So that orange colour is going to kind of be the identifying colour for this trail. So throughout the zoo and on the map and stuff, you see that colour. That sort of denotes the Africa Precinct. So coming through, the first thing we see is our restaurant. So this is the first eating area and will probably end up being one of the largest throughout the whole zoo. It is a pretty decent size. And there's just a little bathroom off there to the right, so nothing super fancy. The restaurant doesn't have a name at the moment, or yet. I had a few suggestions. Serengeti Eats and Savannah Bar and Grill were probably 2 of the best ones. Not super set a name yet. I don't really know if I necessarily even need one, but if we do get one, I'll probably put a sign that says it maybe to the right or left of the stairs in the garden bed there. Where that rhino head is up in front was a good spot too, but I kind of really like that sculpture there now, so I don't really want to move it. But yeah, I'm all ears for any suggestions, any names you guys think would be good. Shoot them my way, leave a comment with them. So we'll head into the restaurant, inspired kind of by the Jurassic Park Visitor Center, I gotta say, especially the ceiling in there. So we'll head through the doors. Excuse us, visitors. So here's the first of kind of 3 sections of the restaurant. So we've got a middle, central, rounded dining area with booths all around the side. You'll see pretty much all of the seating in this restaurant is functional. You can see people using the booth seating there. It's just sort of dressed up with pieces, and there's some people using tables outside as well. These ones are not real, they're not functional, they're just for decoration, just sort of fitting the space. So yeah, the central area we're in right now, there's an alfresco dining area with sort of 2 areas at the side there. We'll go check them out in a minute. And then we've also got a section down there on our left that we'll check out in a minute. So see, that's sort of where people order the food, that's where the actual restaurant building is. This whole building was made pretty soon after the update that added restaurants, which was ages ago now, so it is in some places showing its age, but I'm still really happy with it. It was a very different build for me, nothing like I'd done before, so it was quite a challenge, but yeah, overall quite happy with the outcome. That's meant to be like a self-serve drink station just there. There is a drink stand, like an actual vendor behind it, so visitors can walk up and use it, and makes it look like they're using the self-service, but yeah, and that's the actual restaurant, which you'll see visitors sort of walking through the wall to get in. Yeah, this section here is what I would say is the most kind of formal within the restaurant. You could kind of close it off, like rope this section off and have it as private for functions or birthdays or just for seating really big groups or anything like that. See lots of tile motifs and things, which is kind of unique to this section. I lean mostly into more wood and kind of tribal sort of aesthetic in the rest of the section. Yeah, so you see some big booths sitting here. Lovely to see people actually using it. Same around here. Oh, this poor guy's eating on his own. It's a bit sad. We have another sort of wait station there. So it's shown as closed because it kind of looks into the back wall of the restaurant. I couldn't really make it work out, so I just put it like there's a roller door down and we'll just pretend. Looking through, lots of plants in this area, which I love. That green wall at the back was good fun to use. And then I want to show you something I love with this restaurant is the sight lines out the windows. So we'll have a little peek through this one at what you would be seeing if you were sat at this table. And like that's exactly what I was aiming for, you know? So I'm really, really happy with this. And you get these sort of views out of pretty much every window in the restaurant. And the alfresco area, which we'll check out, I'm really happy with as well. So what we're looking at now is the Savannah exhibits. So there's 3 exhibits. We've got blue wildebeest, African buffalo, and then Springbok and Common Ostrich are in the furthest paddock away from us. So we'll have a proper look at them in a minute, but just so you have some context of exactly what we're looking at. Alrighty, we'll head around to the alfresco areas now. I really like these little skylights in here. Trying to get as much natural light into here as I could with the big windows and the skylights. Taking every opportunity. Scoot on through. So coming out this way, now we have the alfresco area. Again, these are dressed up tables. This is the like cover for the base game table is a blueprint. I don't want to say, I think it's just Goron. It might be Lion, I'm not sure, so sorry, but you'll see them. They're pretty popular in the workshop. Same with these ones, so I can't take credit for them. They're absolutely fantastic. So a lot of alfresco seating out here. And then it overlooks in this direction the giraffe, zebra, and guinea fowl exhibit. So you can get some pretty cool views from here. It's nice just to see this angle of the exhibit. Very sweet to check out while you're eating food. And then here is our behind the scenes sort of platform. So it's all locked off and stuff at the minute. But the idea is that people would be able to come here for their behind the scenes, and they'd be able to have the giraffe come over, feed them some browse, get some pictures, just generally have a cool moment. And then additionally, while people are doing that, everyone who's sitting down eating gets to watch, which is also a super cool experience, and tempts them to maybe purchase the experience themselves. So it all works out for everyone well in the end. And yeah, these sort of views are really what I was trying to nail with this restaurant. I feel like you're at a zoo, utilize the animals. Don't just have a cafe or seating area where you can't see anything. Take that opportunity, have people sitting where they can view animals at the same time. Very cool experience. There's lots of zoos around the world that do that. I think meerkats is a really common one. Near me, Werribee Zoo in Melbourne has like a big cafe that has a meerkat enclosure that runs the length of it. And it's just awesome. So I'm definitely going to steal that idea for a cafe later on. Here's another little alfresco area. Again, I kind of designed them so you could section them off, so you could close off areas to have private functions as well. So this is another area that you could easily rope off there, and then you could have a private function in this little area. Big fan of these lights going onto the fever tree and around the place. Very quaint. Looks cool at nighttime as well. And then from here we get another great view. Again, all of these tables, all the big round tables are all functional. These two-person ones are not. We don't have them in the game, but all of them are connected to restaurants, so you do see people sitting out here sometimes as well. And here we get another view of those Savannah exhibits. So you can see the buffalo one there on the left, blue wildebeest on the right. Good little look. Sort of panorama over the whole area. You can even get a peek of, in the sort of left of the frame there, is where the next section that I'm building actually, which is going to have the cheetah and either a Cory bustard or southern ground hornbill, two bird species. I haven't decided yet, so if anyone feels strongly, let me know. And that's basically the restaurant there. So yeah, really, really happy with it. I find it just an interesting structure, the shape of it. This is another little touch I love as well. Sort of building around the tree, incorporating it into the space. Little wait star stations, some patio heaters. I turn these off so they're not always running, but every time you relaunch the game, they turn themselves back on, so I just gave up. Alright, so that's the restaurant. Have another peek through one of these windows as well. Yeah. Nailed it, if I do say so myself. Alright, we'll head down and we will go check out those exhibits up close. Running around the corner. Sorry. So it's that bathroom I mentioned, and then we're heading underneath the restaurant now. Savannah. So you can probably tell, but these little decals are the Springbok. Bit of a DIY job. They're actually just meant to be plain deer, the original signs, and I just used some font pieces in a very dodgy sort of way to make them look like Springbok. I think it does the job. It's a little bit naff, but yeah, pretty happy with it in the end. These are just sort of access doors. There is a sort of service road that runs through. Sorry, let's fix that up. Good old explore mode. There we go. So yeah, these sort of service gates, there's staff roads that run behind them. They're not properly decorated or interiors done, but the idea is if they needed to get vehicles through here or staff through here, they could. But there is another sort of less intrusive access road that loops right around from the vet area, which they probably use more often than this, because through that door extends to the giraffe and zebra barns, so you do need access quite often. Here we are. So sort of staging ground before you enter the Savannah enclosures. More of those little DIY Springbok signs. We've got these signs all over the place. Again, I'm pretty sure they're by Lion. They're all a workshop, like a big set, and I just sort of grab and drop them as I need. So there's a few of them. You'll see them scattered all over the place. They're just fantastic. One of the best workshop items there are. From this way over the blue wildebeest. This is the biggest of the 3 enclosures. We've got quite a few animals in there at the moment. You can see there's some calves around as well. You can see their barns just there in the background, kind of a little hidden in the trees, which was the goal. Try and get all the angles of the exhibits we can nice and quick. Here's the buffalo. We've got a little mud wallow there on the left. It does actually have the mud wallow enrichment items sunk in underneath it, so they do occasionally come over and roll in it. And I don't know if you can see it from there. I'll have to look at it another time. There's a hose with like a little cage around it, which is a nice little detail that I enjoy, but we'll have a peek at that after, once we're done with the Tegid cam views. So we'll head over. We've got this elevated walkway that divides the 3 enclosures, and underneath the walkway is the actual fence that separates the exhibits. So on the left there, we've got our African buffalo. These little window viewing areas, which you imagine be for kids, so they can peek through, get a good look at the animals as well. Let's see, can we see the... Oh, there we go. See that little cage there on the left covering up a hose? Yeah, proud of that one. And some decals that are like sort of the wet mud sliding into it. Yeah. Scratching my own back a little bit there. There's another little sneak peek of the cheetah building. We won't look at that too much today, it's not the focus. Wildebeest here on the right. So the idea of the Savannah exhibits is they're all kind of in a valley. So you've got this rock wall at the back of pretty much all of the exhibits. It's like a big ball. Continue on through. I found a picture of this structure on Pinterest and built from that. It was just for like some education amphitheater somewhere. I can't remember where, but thought it would be a really awesome central structure to have in the Savannah. And then we've got this little thing in the middle. It's meant to kind of invoke ideas of like hearth and home, and the sort of fire being, the campfire being the center of the group, of the tribe, of the camp, of whatever you want to call it. So that's here right at the center of the Savannah exhibits, where there's a tour station over the back there. People can rest, read some info about the animals. And all together, yeah, just kind of bind those 3 exhibits in this central space. Got some more views of the buffalo. You can see the access gate back there for vehicles too, which I'll go into a little bit later. That way is we've got another sort of elevated platform that you can look from a different direction, but that's more connected to the cheetah area. So that's next episode. So again, we're not gonna check that out. It's as much of a sneak peek as you'll get. And in here we've got the Springbok and Common Ostrich. And now all 3 exhibits share a water body. It's all connected. You can see a little bit over there. You can see the mesh where the water flows through, because it's otherwise a concrete perimeter wall that divides all the enclosures. And in that back corner is where that water system starts. And you can actually get a little peek of the filtration system, the blue in the back there as well, where it all originates. And it kind of flows through this exhibit, through the wildebeest one, and then it ends in the water buffalo, or African buffalo, sorry, section. There's that rock wall I was talking about as well. Peek at the blue wildebeest one again. I do just love with these exhibits that the different angles make such a difference in what the place looks like, because they're really large open spaces, so to make it interesting, all those different viewpoints are really essential, I think. And that water body in the front kind of evokes those ideas of like a watering hole, which everyone associates with a lot of these animals. So definitely going to tap into that. Continue this way. Turn around so you can get another little there of the Springbok habitat. A little bit of a more vegetated corner here, just for something a little bit different around where all the water is. I figured it'd be a little bit more lush compared to the kind of open grassland savanna of the rest of the space. And then that way too you can see the restaurant in the background, the wildebeest in front. Pretty pleased with that, I do gotta say. continue this way. There's not too much more in this direction. We do have a little bathroom here with some solar panels on the roof. It's nothing crazy. This little bathroom. And then these walls and the zoo expanding sign, this is heading into what will be the sort of carnivore predator precinct of the Africa section. So the species I'm thinking of in there are like lions, hyena, Nile crocodiles, painted dogs I'm really excited to do, caracal or serval, and then I'm thinking maybe some other small carnivore species like some type of mongoose or something along those lines. Not fully sold, but that's a lot further down the line. So after I do the cheetah area, I'll probably get started on that. So have time to think. If anyone has strong opinions again, let me know. And the idea with the walls, I really want to close the space in because you're coming in from a very open panoramic space with the Savannah. And for the predator precinct, I want to bring that back in. I want to close it right in. So the walls are serving to do that. And see a little bit more of that when we get around there. All right, so that is sort of visitor perspective of things. We'll do a little bit of an overview just so you can get some context for the space. So obviously the 3 habitats there in the middle, separated by the pathway, the restaurant there on the left, and then you can see on the right hand side we've got the water system, the barns and calving yards for the wildebeest, springbok and ostrich, and then the top left you can see the giraffe and zebra barns, and then just to the right of them you can just see the roof of the buffalo barn. So we'll go and check them out now. We've sort of seen the visitor side of things. We'll have a quick look at all the BTS behind the scenes. We'll little look at the restaurant. We've just got this sort of back access here, all the bins and rubbish and where they'd get deliveries and all that sort of stuff is. We've got this main service road down the back here that extends from the assets maintenance sort of entrance area and goes all the way down to the vet section, which you'll remember from episode 2. And that service road connects up to the barns there. And this is what I was talking about with that road that sort of goes, sorry for the very quick camera movement, sorry if I made anyone sick just then, that goes right underneath. Again, not decorated, just functional for staff to get around as well. Because that follows all the way through the restaurant and then comes out this end there. And this is, you'll remember again from episode 1, the zebra and giraffe barns. But additionally now, we also have the buffalo barn. So we'll go and check this one out now. We'll have a look at it from the top. We've got a holding yard off there to the left in the main building. So head on in. Here we go. Again, pretty visually noisy space. Be prepared for that. All of the barns are. There's just a lot of mesh and paneling and stuff. So it's not the prettiest thing, but it is functional. The animals actually do use the space. Very grateful for the conservation pack adding all of these rakes and shovels and stuff. There was such a set of props we were missing from the game because they are everywhere in these sorts of spaces. So really excited that they're back, or they're in the game. And we've got a buffalo walking around inside. Again, I use the Planet Zoo Plus mod, which reduces the hitbox of all the animals, and that's how they can actually use all of these spaces. How they can come in here and sleep, and just as this guy's demonstrating for us, which is fantastic. Very cool. Yeah, they can access through here to go out the back. It's a pretty big indoor area here for the buffalo. Their stalls are very big compared to the other ungulates that we'll look at, like the wildebeest, which we'll see in a minute. And again, we've got some scales on the way in, so it's a nice easy way. As the animals are walking in, you can get a weight on them. It's not a big ordeal to get those measurements. And exiting the barn, this is the sort of vehicle access gate. This is where you'd get little buggies or utes and stuff in through here. And then from there, you've got these gates there and over there that access to the other 2 paddocks. So all the vehicle access comes through that gate, and then from here they can get to the other 2 exhibits. Again, just really pleased with this. There you go. It's the last of the hose, I promise. Here's that water body and that perimeter wall that extends all underneath the visitor path. Head into the wildebeest, and we'll go to their barn from the animal side of things. So here they've got a little run, little raceway. This enters into their main barn stall area, but it can also go straight through to their calving yards, which is just like a second holding yard with some different stalls designed for mums and bubs. So here we are, we've got all these stalls. Again, they're functional for the ones that are open. I left some of the stalls closed just for some variation, but the ones that are open, the wildebeest can access inside. These big gates are where you get vehicles in to move sand around. We've got tools all over the place. We've got drains on the side. Sorry. It's hard to get good camera work in these narrow spaces. So yeah, drains along the whole edge of the wall. And then in here is the carving yard area. So you can see these stalls are just sort of single, just meant for single adults to come in. You can close them off, you can feed them, inject them through the gaps in the mesh and stuff like that. But then these ones are a little bit different. So you've got a main stall that's meant for an adult mum, and then you've got a second smaller one with these little slides here, which are meant to allow the calf to come through, so then keepers or staff can access the calf safely without going in with the adult mum, and then the baby is free to move back and forth as they need. And here are just some little like cattle drinkers, like auto drinkers sort of thing. There'd be a little tap that you'd turn on and they'd just fill up, and there'd be a float valve. Pretty standard for a lot of animal drinkers actually. Just ungulates. And here we are with the scales again, that little screen, all the same from the very first episode with the giraffe and zebra. So yeah, we'll have a little overlook. So that's the wildebeest barn there, and that's a little toilet block on the right there that we walked past as well. So all done from the outside, all accessible by vehicle, which is always important. Head through this service road and take a look at... On our way, we'll look at the water filtration system. So this is a big workshop item that I just sort of chopped and changed and moved a couple things around. None of it's meant to actually make sense or function. It's just meant to look vaguely like some sort of filtration system that would work. And these sort of pipes go down into the ground there. There's the access road, and then the idea is that those pipes would come out here. And that's sort of where the water would flow out. This sort of little mini wetland, which would function as a bit of an additional filter, and then flows down the waterfall, through the mesh, into the wildebeest area, before, yeah, it terminates at the buffalo end of things. So we'll go have another peek. This is the last barn, I promised. This is the Springbok and Ostrich one. It's not really built to work with the ostriches. They were kind of a late addition, but it does work for the Springbok. So we'll look at the main building first. Again, visually noisy, not the prettiest thing in the world, but pretty happy with it. Lots of stalls, fit more than the animals that we house in there at the minute. Very similar in design. It's overall a different shape, but it's the same ideas as in the wildebeest barn. So all the way down, same thing. We've got the scales down the end as they walk through. And then we'll head through to the calving yards. Now these gates are all sort of placed in a way that keepers would be able to stand there and move the gates to funnel animals in whichever direction they wanted to. So if they wanted to run them to the main barns, as is the setup now, they could, or they could close that gate on the right and open the one on the left, and that would funnel them through straight into this holding yard if they needed, or into these little calving yards here. So same idea as the wildebeest, bigger stalls with a secondary smaller stall and a slide that divides them, that then would allow the calves to go through. And those slides do actually have a little bit of a functional thing. You can see those white cables that go, and then they connect to a handle here. So that's actually how the keepers would operate them. They'd grab onto that red handle, pull it down, hook it under there, and that would pull the slide up to allow the calf access, or just to close it, do whatever they need to. More of these little shelvings, more of those little rakes and buckets, all those little details. We'll have a nice little overview of that area too. So you've got the filtration for the whole water system in the Savannah, and the main barn and the calving barn and yard for the Springbok. So there you go. So that is the restaurant and the 3 Savannah exhibits there. So overall, really happy with it. Especially these alfresco areas for the restaurant, I think are probably my highlight. Just awesome looking over the giraffe exhibit that way, looking looking over the Savannah exhibits that way. It's just, yeah, really cool. And then from this perspective, right at the back of the screen is where the predator trail that I mentioned is going to be, and that's going to sort of lift in elevation. So hopefully the goal is that you might be able to get like a little sneak peek of a bit of a lion on Pride Rock kind of situation from here as well, which would just be amazing. And then, yeah, the zoo is going to extend off to the left as well. So really the sight lines from here are only going to get better. Yeah, real excited for that. Yeah, so thank you for watching, guys. It was another bit of a long one. They always end up being longer than I planned them to be. Just can't stop talking. But yeah, thank you very much. If there's anything I missed that you guys want a little bit of more detail in, or any suggestions, any changes, I really would love this to be sort of a bit of a collaborative thing between us. You guys have any ideas or things you want to do, let me know, and I'll work them into the builds, or we can revisit old builds. Even if you've got something with the flamingos or the giraffe or anything, I'm always happy to go back and iterate upon older builds and improve them where we can. And yeah, thank you very much for watching episode 3, and hope you enjoyed the start of the Africa Precinct. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.